What's going on, guys? My name is Button and welcome back to another video where today I am finally addressing a question that I get asked 1,000 times a day on my Twitch stream, and that is, how do I build my mob farm in my hardcore world? Now in this video I'm going to show you a step-by-step tutorial on how to build this. The spawn is going to look ugly as hell, but I'm going to try to use blocks that kind of like divide it up a little bit so you guys can like count if you miss like some numbers and things like that. But this is a spawner that I've been using for a long time. It's something that I've just made myself over the years. I'm sure there's many other people that do it, but I just kind of came up with it over the years, and it works really well for a vanilla world. It's a pretty early game thing you can do as well, so you don't need a ton of resources to do it. But let's get on with the tutorial. Now, for anybody wondering, this farm works only on Java edition of Minecraft at the moment. If you play Windows 10 or Bedrock edition, whatever you want to call it, this farm at the moment will not work. I heard they're working on making the spawning mechanics the same as Java, which when they do, this spawner will work. But for now, this spawner only works in Java edition of Minecraft. All right, let's get on with the tutorial. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do before you start anything with this spawner is find an area on your world that's relatively flat. Now, I like to use oceans. By coming above oceans, you have a perfectly flat surface. Means you're going to get, when you go up into the sky, you're going to get the most amount of mob spawns possible. This does work on other types of land, like plains biomes. It works just fine. In extreme hills, it's a little bit more difficult. But the first thing you want to do is find a big open area. So we're going to use this one for this tutorial. Now, what I like to do is I like to build a little ways out into the ocean. You can go as far as you like. I usually go around 32 blocks or so out into the sea just to get you a little bit further away from the land. It's not really necessary, but that's just something I like to do. So let's start by doing that. Don't judge my voice cracks, okay? Now, once you've built out a little way and you've found the area that you want to build your spawner, the first thing you want to do is build straight up 128 blocks. Now, something I like to do if I'm in a plains biome or something that's not completely flat is go up about 130 blocks just to have a little bit extra headroom kind of thing. Again, doesn't really matter, but you want to go up 128 blocks. Now, once you have your tower that's 128 blocks tall, 130 blocks tall, however high you built it, this is going to be the base or the floor of where the storage room and where all the mobs are going to land is going to be. So what we're going to do now is build. I like to build a pretty big platform, but we're going to build a 17 by 17 square platform out of this pillar. Now, another thing I like to do as well, rather than letting this pillar just go to waste, is I actually like to turn these pillars into water elevators, so you can come up and down to your farm without having to fly up by needing an elytra or build up or something like that. I like to turn it into some water elevators, so something a little bit like this. I like to turn it into something a little bit like that, and then you can have a down one and an up one. Whoops. You can have a down one and an up one, and you can easily get up and down to your farm nice and quickly. So yeah, that's something you can do with your pillar that you just made. So go ahead, build a 17 by 17 platform, or however big you want your storage area to be. This area doesn't matter. You can make it however you like. I'm just going to show you in this video the way that I like to do it. Once you have that platform, you want to make sure you go ahead and light this up, because I may have made a mistake a couple times where I forgot to do that, and yeah, it's not ended too well. So make sure you've lit up that platform. But in the middle there, you see I've marked it out with everybody's favorite block, diorite. I've marked it all out. You want to just make a nice 3x3 in the middle there, and that will give you an idea of how much space you're going to have on each side of your spawner when you go ahead to put your storage in and things like that. So now you've done that, let's get on with the spawner. Now, once again, I did say this is going to be a bit of an ugly spawner, but I'm trying to use blocks that are like individually visible, so you guys can like get an idea if you miss some numbers or something like that. You can just count it yourself in the video. What you're going to want to do next, now you've done that, is build your middle up by one block. Now, that's on top of that block is where we're going to put the hoppers, but you want to build the middle block up by one. This spawner is going to be really ugly, but I'm just trying to use individually visible blocks, so if you guys miss any numbers or things like that in the video, then at least you can see it visually, right? And what you're going to want to do on top of that is have a little bit of a chest thing to the side. I've just done this. I've just put 2 double chests connected by a hopper like that. And then the hoppers that are going to go on top of this block will feed into this chest here like so. Now, once you got your hoppers down, what you're going to want to do is put a layer of carpet on top of them. Now, this is quite important because a lot of the XP and things that will drop from mobs if you don't do this will actually get stuck in these little indents in the hoppers. So what you're going to want to do is just put a layer of carpet on top of those hoppers, and that'll make sure that any XP that does drop comes out to you and doesn't go into the holes. Now, the next step is to build our tube. Now, the tube is going to be the big drop that comes down and damages the mobs and leaves them on a heart, half a heart. I like to do it so the mobs have like 1 heart or so of damage left. At the end of the day, you're going to be using some kind of a weapon, usually with like sweeping edge on it. So you're going to be able to hit all of them and do lots of damage anyway. So it doesn't really matter unless you want to punch them. So what I like to do is build up a tube 20 blocks. Like so. So you want to come around the edge like this, and build a ring around on the same level as your carpets. And from there, you want to go 20 blocks up into the sky. Once you've built your tube, one thing you're going to have to do, which is something I always forget to do when I build these in survival mode, is remove the bottom layer and replace this with slabs. You can just leave it like that entirely, but baby zombies that are on chickens can get out. Some of you may have seen the highlight on my Twitch channel when I died in a hardcore world to that. I don't want to talk about it. So let's grab some slabs real quick, and all you're going to want to do is replace that bottom ring with slabs. And actually, while we're down the bottom here, the other thing you can do is just go around the edge of the of this bottom diorite block and just build a little bit of a slab up platform. What this will do is it'll put you a little bit higher so skeletons and things like that can't see you, and it'll allow you to kill mobs here. You do have to be careful getting a little bit close, but you can keep your distance and you'll be just fine, and nothing will be able to get to you. So it should now look a little bit like that. If it doesn't, I mean, you can do this bottom bit however you like, really, just as long as mobs can't see you. I'm just showing you guys what I like to do in my worlds. It works, it's simple, and that's why I do it that way. Now, the next thing we're going to work on is the water channels. And these are the channels that all the mobs are going to fall into and be pushed down into this center tube. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do once you've built your tube up the middle is build out 8 blocks on each of the sides like I've done here. This is going to be the water channels where mobs are going to fall into and then be pushed down into the center like tube thing here. Well, I don't know what to call this thing, a tube, a column, you know what I mean. The drop chute. Anyways, you want to come 8 blocks out on all 4 sides, which will give you a 9 block in length total distance for there. And the next thing you're going to want to do, like I'm doing here at the moment, is build a 2-high wall all the way around the edge of these water channels that you've just made. This should leave you with a total length of about 8 blocks for the water, which is the exact amount that a water bucket, here if I grab one, it's the exact amount that a water bucket takes to flow all the way to the end. It's the exact amount that a water bucket takes to flow to the end, so it should have your water source stop just before it gets to the chute. And again, you're going to want to do this on all 4 sides of your spawner, because you're going to want 4 different water channels coming down to that middle point. Now, once you've finished your little wall around the edge of your water gullies, this is going to be where your first lot of platforms are. So the next thing you're going to need to do is join up the corners on all 4 sides of that platform and fill them in. And this is going to be our first tier of mob spawning platforms. So now you can see we've got our first lot of mob spawning platforms. This spawner actually has 2 tiers to it. So this is tier 1, and now we're going to start on tier 2. Now, to make tier 2 of the platform, what you're going to need to do is on each of the ends of your 4 little waterways in the middle, you want to knock out that first layer of block, like so. Because we're now going to extend this channel all the way back so that mobs continuously flow down. So what you have to do now is go out another 8 blocks and make another water channel identical to the one you just made. So from here, we're going to go 8 blocks out, all the way on all 4 sides. And this is going to be our second lot of, like, mob waterways. I don't know what to call these things, goddammit. Now, after you've extended your 4 waterways, the next thing to do is, again, build another wall. So all you're gonna do is start from the edge of where one of your platforms is, right here. And you're gonna want to build up 2 more blocks. Now, this is gonna go all the way around the edge, but when you get to your new kind of waterways that you've made, it's gonna turn into a 3-block high wall. So it's all gonna be the same level. Now that you've added a wall all the way around your spawner, it should look a little bit something like this, and you should now be able to see where the second lot of platforms are going to go. So the next step is to make your tier 2 of mob spawning platforms. Now, to do that, all you need to do is connect the edge of one of your tier 2 waterways all the way up to the edge of the wall that you just made. And then you'll do the same again on the next side. And all you're going to do is repeat this all the way around the edge of the spawner until you have another 8 mob spawning platforms. Alright, so now you should have another 8 platforms, and your mob spawner should look a little bit something like that. Hey! Hey! This is my spawner, not yours. No, away. Take your stupid llamas. I don't want these anywhere near my spawner. Go away. This is mine. Mine. Sorry about that. Anyway, now you should have a spawn that looks a little bit like this, where you've got multiple layers and multiple spawning platforms. Now, so you can go even further out than this and do a 3rd tier if you want to. You can kind of expand this as much as you like, but honestly, in my opinion, I don't think it's really necessary. There's only a certain amount of mobs that can spawn in one area anyway. So this is kind of where I like to go with it. I mean, you can go further if you like, but this is where I go to it. Now, the next step is to build another 2 high wall all the way around the edge of your mob farm. Coming all the way around. And when you get to a join like this, just literally just carry it on around like that. And you want to build another wall going all the way around the edge of your farm. And don't shout at me for using diorite. This is literally so you guys could just count if you need to look at the blocks individually. Nobody actually likes diorite, okay? Man, poor diorite. That was actually kind of harsh. Okay, diorite's not so bad, but diorite gets too much hate for what it is. Standard diorite, yes, I agree, it looks like bird poop. But this doesn't look too bad when it's polished. The next thing we're going to do is add trapdoors to the edge. Now, a little bit about how mob pathing works in Minecraft. A mob's AI cannot tell whether a trapdoor is open or whether it's closed. So now let me show you how to do the next part. So the next thing to do is going to be to add trapdoors down the edges of all of your little waterways on both tiers. Because this is going to mean that mobs path over to the edge and just walk off the edge into the water. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So the way a mob's AI works is it cannot tell if a trapdoor is closed like this or if it is open like this. So naturally, they just assume that it's open. So what a mob will do is it will spawn and be like, hey, I'm a mob. Oh, there's a block there. I'm going to stand on it. Oh, you get the idea. So what you're going to want to do is open all of those trapdoors you just placed around all of the edges. And this will mean that mobs think there is a block there they can walk on. But there actually isn't. So they just fall down straight into the water. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do from here is make sure that nothing spawns at this farm that's going to cause problems. So in our case, spiders aren't a problem because it's a 3x3 hole. Spiders will be able to fall down, no problem. However, Endermen will teleport if they land in water. So we now need to solve that problem. Now, the top platform already is only too high, so Endermen can't spawn there. So this is only going to be a problem on these 4 bottom layer platforms. Now, all you have to do to solve this is simply come to one of the corners, place a block, and come out one. And you're going to want to continue your 2 high wall you did around the edge in a square shape all the way around the edge of your inner platforms. So it should look a little something like this. And what you're going to want to do is repeat that on all 4 of these lower platforms like this. Now, once you've got your 4 squares, the next thing you're going to want to do is add a layer of slabs on top of all of those walls that you've just made, including around the edge like this. What this is going to do is it's going to mean that these top English is hard. It's going to mean that these top platforms can only spawn 2 high mobs and can't spawn any Endermen. So that's not going to be a problem up here. It's also going to stop any mobs from spawning on the roof. So you won't need to light the roof up or anything like that. So just go around and place all the slabs to stop any of the mobs from spawning up top here. Now, I have actually already made this video. I already recorded this video once when I was over in Australia. But I'm an idiot and recorded it in the wrong file type. So after which, all of the footage couldn't go into my editing software because it didn't support it. And then when I converted the footage, my editing software was like, yeah, this shit's corrupted. So, yeah, well, we can't use this, I'm afraid. So now I'm here re-recording it. Which I don't mind, if I'm honest, because this spawner, even though I've used diorite, actually looks a lot better than what my other one did. I used, like, fucking granite and stuff in the other one. It didn't look very good at all, so this spawner actually looks better. Not that you guys really care, because, well, you can't see that footage anyway, but I just thought I'd share that with you. Okay, now that we've added slabs to the edge layer all the way around, we're now going to deal with the inner layer again. What you're going to want to do is come down here, and you're going to just want to add another load of slabs and cover the entire thing in slabs, all the way in the middle, just above where your head is on the bottom half of the block. And this will allow you to have a 2 high spawning gap underneath. It'll also stop any mobs from spawning here because it's on the half block as well. So you just got to do that on all 4 of these platforms, and then we'll deal with the main roof, and then we're pretty much done. Okay, now we're pretty much almost done with this. The only thing we really have left to do is add the water to the gullies. I don't even know what these are called. I feel like I could call these things like a million different things in this video, but you want to add your water to your water channels, and then we just got to add the roof up here as well. So let's go ahead and add the water to all 4 sides. And you know something else I just realized? I do so many like hand movements. I'm like, so let's do this and this and this, and then this and this and this and this. I apologize if that gets on your nerves in the videos. Anyway, you just want to add water on all 4 sides now. And what you should find is that it's a smooth flow of water all the way down to the bottom. So if a mob drops in the top section, it should flow straight down to the bottom section and straight into the hole. If your water is falling like 1 block short or something like that, if like your water's, for example, stopping here, and this is just an empty block, then you've probably built the spawner 1 too wide out, and you just need to come in by 1 block. But when it's done, it should look something a little bit like that. And now the final thing for the top part of the spawner here is just to add the roof. So all we're going to do is come down here where we've got the slabs going around the edge. and just literally fill it all in. Now, you don't need to worry about these top holes because we've already dealt with those. All you got to do is fill in these sections and the channels in the middle, and then your spawner is done. And as for the spawner, that's about it. Like, pretty much that's all you need to do. You get a cool little pattern on the top of it as well there. But that's essentially all you need to do for the spawner. It's complete. The only other thing you need to do now is build your little storage room down here. I'll show you a little bit. Look, look how many mobs we've got down here already. God damn it. There's so many mobs. But the only other thing you need to do is build a room for your storage and things like that. I'll show you guys how I build mine, but I mean, you can build this in any way you like. The only thing you have to make sure you do is have a slabbed roof or at least a very lit up roof. Else what you'll end up having is just loads of mobs spawning on your roof, and then that'll affect your rates in your farm, and you don't want that. I've had to turn mob sounds off because there's just too many of them in there at the moment. But what I like to do here around the edge is I like to just build up 4 blocks. I do a cool little room that looks a little bit like this. So this is what I like to do. I've just built a little bit of a room down here. This is where I tend to put all of my chests and stuff as well. So I'll put usually some crafting tables or something in here. And a few chests just to make the place look a little bit more, you know, have a little bit more usable storage and stuff. Now, I've used quartz slabs as the roof, and the good thing about using slabs as a roof is you can put a chest at the top there and still open it. So I definitely recommend you guys use slabs as a roof. But this is what I like to do. Just build a little bit of a room like this. You can have storage for all of your different items. You've got your way up and down on your little water elevators over here. And this is what it looks like from the outside. Just looks like this from the outside. It's nothing special. Again, like I said earlier in the video, you can customize this bottom bit however you like. I just keep it simple. I don't like to overcomplicate it. But you can do whatever you like with this little area. You can add as many chests as you like. Whatever you want to do with it. And that's it. That is how you build that spawner. Finally, I got around to making the video for it. I apologize it wasn't out sooner. If I had not been a doofus and recorded it in the right format the first time, I wouldn't have had to redo it. But this is the spawner. This is how it's built, how it works. Hopefully this answered all of your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you dislike the video, click the dislike button twice. Subscribe around here if you're new. Hopefully this video helped you out. We'll see you guys in the next video. Stay awesome, stay safe. We'll see you in the next one.